Best of Us Investors presents Cramer Manipulation.
Hey, Kerry here. Is the stock market rigged? Is it manipulated? A one-word answer, yeah, it is. Stock market's changed a lot over the years. I remember when my dad used to get a certificate, and it said he had so many shares of a company, and if he wanted to trade that stock, he took that certificate down and he signed it over to his Merrill Lynch broker and bought another certificate. And that's the way the stock market was run. But it's changed. It's become much more complicated. There are derivatives, there are options, there are credit swaps, there are all kinds of things to make it more complicated so that it can be manipulated, so that it can be rigged. You don't believe me? Do you believe Jim Cramer? Let me share with you some information that Jim shared back in, I believe it was 2006, about how he ran a hedge fund and how he manipulated the market so that he could return profits to his investors. Here, listen to it.
You know, a lot of times when I was short at my hedge fund and I was positioned short, meaning I needed it down, I would create a level of activity beforehand that could drive the futures. It doesn't take much money. Similarly, if I were long and I would want to make things a little bit rosy, I would go in and take a bunch of stocks and make sure that they're higher. Maybe commit $5 million in capital to do it, and I could affect it. What you're seeing now is it probably is bigger market. Now, maybe you need $10 million in capital to knock this stuff down.
Okay, that's Jim Cramer. Let's dig into this. I think that you should, I told you in another video, you need to pick up a copy of this weekend's Wall Street Journal and put it in a drawer someplace so your grandkids can go back and say, yeah, that was the day that the stock market changed. The stock market changed dramatically. It became a better or a more even field to play on. It used to be, up until, I think, we're going to look at January or February of 2021 and say, well, that's when it became an even playing field. Up until then, the retail investor was only allowed to participate from the sidelines. But as a result of some young people, some young millennials, they brought some hedge funds to their knees and changed the way the market, brought to the forefront the inequities of the stock market.
But it's a fun game, and it's a lucrative game, and you can move it up and then fade it. That's often creates a very negative feel. So let's say you take a longer-term view intraday, and you say, listen, I'm going to boost the futures, and then when the real sellers come in, real market comes in, they're going to knock it down. That's going to create a negative view. That's a strategy very worth doing when you're valued on a day-to-day basis. And I would encourage anyone who's in the hedge fund game to do it because it's legal,
right?
And it is a very quick way to make money and very satisfying. Well, by the way, no one else in the world would ever admit that, but I can care.
That's right, and you can say that here.
I can't. I'm not going to say it on TV.
And I want you to go and go to the second section, the exchange, and I want you to read an article by Jason Zweig. Jason, it's obvious from his beard and his receding hairline, he's a baby boomer. And he's basically saying that this is just an event. This will all go away. It's nothing to worry about. It's just a bunch of young kids flexing their muscles. Jason, your world's about to change. You need to go and maybe sign up to be an executive at Sears Roebuck. Or maybe you'll go to Sears Roebuck and buy Kmart. Your world's about to change. Jeff Bezos just showed up at your doorstep and is going to put you out of business. Cramer Manipulation just showed up at your doorstep and he's going to tell people how you're going out of business. Wall Street is going to be a thing of the past because it's not fair, because it's manipulated. And a bunch of millennials brought it to our attention and said, we can beat them. We can beat them at their own game if we just come together. just like they do. Jim Cramer tells us in this video. And I want you to go find it. Go down into the description. I'll give you a link to the video. And I want to give credit where credit is due. I would not have found this video if it hadn't been for Alex. Alex is the host of Ticker You, Ticker YOU. It's a YouTube channel. If I could get Alex, he only puts out 1 or 2 videos a week. If I could get him to become a part of Best of Us Investors, that would please me to punch, because he puts out a quality video and you need to see it. I'll put the link to this one that he cued me to, not only where Jim Cramer admits the market is rigged. It's going to be a multiple group of people who you know and you're familiar with, and I'm not going to steal his thunder because I want you to go see what Alex does. He puts out a quality video, and you need to be aware of him. And Alex, if you want to come join our team, come on, we're going to change this world. So, is the market rigged? You bet it is. So, okay, if we know it's rigged, what are we going to do about it? What can we do about it? Are we at mercy of the hedge funds? Are we at mercy of the worst Wall Street establishment? We used to be, particularly if we're gamblers. If what we're looking is to make a quick buck, they'll dig in, they'll let you win for a while, and then they'll take everything you've got. Now, if you're an investor and you dig deep and you understand what is happening. I like to buy stocks as if I was buying ownership in a barbecue restaurant. What would be the first thing I'd do? I'd go meet with the owner of the restaurant. I'd ask him about his business plan. I'd like to see your books. I'd like to see how long you've been in the business. How do you communicate with your customers? What kind of product you have? Let's go into the kitchen and see what you have. Let's look at the decor of your restaurant. What do you see in the future? Explain to me how you're going to survive with what's happening down the street. That's what I'd do if I were buying ownership in a restaurant. Well, that's what I do if I'm buying ownership in a company. And I am now getting access, deeper access to Seeking Alpha. I've explained to you about that in the past and how we're going to bring that to the tribe, how we're going to bring one of the best research models to in the stock market and bring us up to the level of these hedge funds. No, we don't have, like Jim Cramer said in 2006, $10 million to manipulate the market this weekend so that we can make paycheck. That's what he said. Watch it. Listen to this.
But the hedge funds are positioned long short, okay, not just long like mutual funds. So it's really vital these next 6 days because of your payday. You've really got to control the market. You can't let it lift. When you get a research in motion, it's really important to use a lot of your firepower to knock that down because it's the fulcrum of the market today. So I mean, let's say I were short. What I would do is I would hit a lot of guys with RIM. Now you can't foment. That's a violation of
ferment.
Yeah, you can't foment. You can't create yourself an impression that a stock's down, but you do it anyway because the SEC doesn't understand it. So that's the only sense that I would say this is illegal. But a hedge fund that's not up a lot really has to do a lot now to save itself. So this is different from what I was talking about at the beginning, where I would be buying the Qs and stuff. Right. This is actually just blatantly illegal. But when you have 6 days and your company may be in doubt because you're down, I think it's really important to foment. If I were one of these guys, foment an impression that research in motion isn't any good because research in motion is the key today. So you would hit this guy and that guy, and when you would see an offering, when you see a guy who's bidding, you'd wipe out that guy very quickly. And what I used to do was called, if I wanted to go higher, I would take and bid. And if I wanted to go lower, I'd hit an offer. And I could get a stock like RIM for maybe, that might cost me 15, 20 million, Annie, to knock RIM down. But it would be fabulous because it would beleaguer all the moron longs who are also keying on research in motion. So
we're seeing on today with
we're seeing that. That's, again, when your company's in a survival mode, it's really important to defeat research in motion and get the Pisanis of the world and the people talking about it as if there's something wrong with RIM.
That's what you're competing with. So don't think that you can go stand alone and beat these people. You can't. You've got to unite. Now, you can go to the Rabbits or whatever it is, or you can join Best of Us Investors. And we are a gathering of people. Right now, we're at about 120,000. At our Discord, we got about 16,000. And we're exchanging ideas. We're saying, Carrie, have you looked at this stock? And then I'm going to some people that I'm assigning as our analysts and saying, give us a full research report on this. Eventually, you're going to be able to come to our channel, and part of our Discord premium channel, you'll be able to see what we think is going to be a Zoom video of 5 people who we have assigned as analysts sit down and explain to you yes or no on this stock. And we'll create then a library of stocks, and we'll update that library so that you can have access to not only my mind, but other people's minds, and you'll have access to the research data that is the best in the world. That's where this is going. So when I see an article that says, rise of the Wall Street rebels, and then Jason dismisses them as something that is going to pass and it'll all go back to normal. Hey, Jason, you don't know what's coming your way. You better go find another rock to hide under, because this is coming fast. I mean, the people now have power. Have the people with power changed? I live in Birmingham, Alabama. This was where Bull Connor took hoses to African Americans. Did the power of the people change that? You bet it did. I grew up in the era of the demonstrations against the Vietnam War. I was in the Army Reserve when, or the National Guard, when they called the snipers to Kent State. Did that change the world? You bet. You give the people power, or you give them the vehicle through which to gain the power, and guess what? Black Lives Matter. Guess what? We don't want to be rigged. We don't want to play in a rigged game anymore. We've exposed you. And the game is going to change. And the power is coming to us who have a vehicle, the internet, through which to unite Best of Us investors and play the game fairly. I tell you, is the world getting interested in this? This morning, we have coffee with Jeffrey and Rebecca. We have known Jeffrey and Rebecca for years. They have known that I have been involved in the stock market. And Rebecca said to me this morning, can you explain to me what's going on in the stock market? And I said, are you talking about the GameStop issue? She said, yeah. I said, do you know what a hedge fund is? No, not really. And so I explained it to her, and you know what she said to me? I guess it's time that people like me come to understand the stock market and what's happening with our investments. Is this a good thing? Damn, you bet it is. You bet it is. The world just changed. Save a copy of this weekend's Wall Street Journal. Put it in a drawer. And your grandkids are going to go back and say, that's the day that the stock market changed. That's the day that the playing field leveled. This is comparable to when there were kings and queens that lived in a castle and ruled the common people. And then the common people rose up and said, no, this isn't right. This isn't the way it's going to be from this point on. I want you to take a deep breath. Hold it. This is a moment of change. And when change happens, you get in front of it and you learn from it. And you put yourself in the position to say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to let this ever happen again. Wow! And you are part of it, and you recognize it for what it is, and you are going to profit from it, because what is our rules here at Best of Us Investors? We only have 3 goals. Make good, sound investment decisions. Keep more of what we make by understanding our tax code. Hell, all the rich people, all those people on Wall Street know it, but they've been keeping it from you. And then 3, build family wealth. You should be a Kennedy. You should be a Vanderbilt. You should pass $24 million on to your heirs. They do. Why don't you? Why aren't you a philanthropist? Because you've been told you can't be. That's all changing. Today is the first day of the rest of your financial life. And it's up to you to educate yourself, to learn that, yes, I can be a multi-billionaire. I drive through my neighborhood and I see people building $4, $5, $6 million homes. And then I see people, I went to fill my gas in my car, and a guy drove up in a car, put his window down and said, "Excuse me, do you have $4 or $5 so I can go buy some food to eat?" Why is there this inequity? Education, belief in yourself, believe that you can do it. You can be a part of it. And today's the first day in the rest of your life. Come join us at Best of Us Investors. Go to the website, give me your name, your address, your email address. I don't want to know where you live. And I'll send you a link to our Discord. Once you get to our Discord, you will discover the Best of Us University, where we are going to bring the smartest people in to teach you how to take control of your financial life, not just investing, every part of your financial life. And this is the first day of the Best of Us Investors and the first day of the change of the Wall Street stock market. It's coming your way. Thanks. I'm excited.